This episode of Vibrant Living is brought to you by Link Transit. Take that first step. Learn how to ride.
Dave Tosch, Executive Director, Wenatchee Valley Senior Activity Center. Today I'm with Ken Mattson. He's an independent associate with Legalshield. Some of you may have heard the term Prepaid Legal. That was the prior company. It's now been purchased by a corporation, and the name is Legalshield. Just wanted Ken to explain to the audience here, what is Legalshield? What do you do for people? And everybody always wants to know, well, how much is it going to cost me? So
exactly.
Why don't you take it from there?
Right. Well, thank you, Dave, and thank you for letting me be here with Vibrant Living. And I was on your website the other day and saw your folks speaking about their health and how exercise and those kind of things. And I was, after being on that web thing with you, I recognized that one of the unhealthy things is to have anxiety, to be in a spot where you don't know what to do. And
I have a lot of that here at the senior center. No, just kidding.
So, that's what I like to say about Legalshield, and they probably won't like me to say this, but I like to say they're a poor man's lawyer. And I believe in lawyers. I appreciate their skill set and what they do. But one of the things that's a little tough for anybody who's in business is time management. So when you call an attorney and say, can I come and meet with you? That's for them, that's time on the clock. How much you're going to pay me for that? And I appreciate, anybody has to stay in business. But Legalshield, Prepaid Legal, has been around for almost 50 years. It's a national network of law firms, headquarters in Oklahoma, and they contract with a law firm in every state to provide service for their membership. And so like AAA or a lot of insurance kind of things, and this is not an insurance product, but like anything where you pay a little bit of money to get the value and the service, Prepaid Legal has an attorney, and you can dial that attorney 24/7. There's somebody at midnight if you have an emergency going on. So we've been at it for a long time. Obviously, we've learned what we can do best for people. And the membership for personal family membership is $24.95 a month. Basically, about $300 a year. You have a law firm on a retainer. And the reason why I say law firm is because there's like 36 versions of law. There's tax lawyers, there's real estate lawyers, there's, probate lawyers, whereas we're a one-stop shop. So any of the problems that you have questions about with Legalshield, we've got somebody who's an expert, and we have experts across the country. We've expanded to all of Canada, and we've now got Legalshield in England. So we're one of the largest law firms in the world. But our business is to serve the little guy as well as the businesses. And so we've made products for protecting people, protecting families, employees for employers, business people. We have a small business plan. We don't have a limit on we used to have a limit to we didn't have businesses more than 100 employees. We've been able to expand past that, so we can help even larger businesses. And we have another product, identity theft, that is a really premier product to protect individuals, families, from the issues that come with that. But a little of my sea story, and the reason why I wanted to be here was that in my lifetime, I have been a nursing home administrator in Oregon. And one of the things that happens in the nursing home office is there's three people who want money. The state wants money, the business wants money, and the family wants money. And the office in the nursing home that I was administrator for, we had to balance all of those things. And so protecting the rights of the client or the patient was a big deal. And as we know, and COVID has amplified this whole thing. And when I say thing, when you go to the hospital, you're not allowed to take anybody with you now. And if you don't have a piece of paper to say what you want done, if you have a heart attack, resuscitate, whatever, if you don't have those documents in play, who's there for you?
Are you talking about the advanced care directives and things of that nature?
I am.
Just recently, I've heard of some really difficult situations with families where they thought it was taken care of, but then they found out it really wasn't taken care of. And so maybe you could expound on that a little bit as to how Legalshield might help with those kinds of situations where, are we sure we're ready for this or not?
Right. Yeah, part of the membership is to build those documents for you. Obviously, an attorney's getting it done, and I know that you have attorneys here that with the senior center that could help people as well. So it's a choice, but again, what I like to say about Legalshield is that they're there to solve your problem. They're not to send you a bill. So they're not going to drag you on. They're just going to get it done. And I want to tell you one sea story, only one. And this is how it works. My wife went over to Renton and had some surgery done. And it was just a little cancer type surgery and a day thing. And so the bill came back $500. I started paying the bill $100 a crack, so to speak, normal for me. And after 3 months, I got I got the bill from a credit union or from a credit people. They wanted the whole $500, and I go, well, you can't call these people. And so I just turned it over to my Legalshield person, showed him the bills. 30 days later, they took care of it. The company finally got straightened around. I paid the last $200 and it was gone. I didn't have to work the problem. I just gave it to my Legalshield attorney, and they were able to, they knew all those phone numbers and why they do it. And the attorney came back and said, well, it's our policy over here in all of these hospitals. I don't know if this is really true, but that's what she said. So they turned everything over to collection after 90 days and just let the bills go.
Today I'm with Jennifer Talbot. She's the Executive Director of the Wenatchee Valley Dispute Resolution Center. It's an organization that I have been aware of for most of the time that I've been here, 8 years, and I know we've had seniors utilize your services, and I think that there's a lot of resources in the Valley that we're trying to promote right now with our TV programming, the Vibrant Living. And yours is one that I think the seniors should become more aware of, because I'm not so sure that a lot of them are aware it's an option and it's a resource that they can utilize. So right off the bat, you work with people to try and resolve disputes. And so you use mediation. Would you like to speak about what that is?
I would love to, yes. Mediation is an alternative dispute resolution. It's one way to try to resolve a problem between two parties or multiple parties. It is a structured process that you have a neutral, impartial third party that works with the parties to through a process to come up with something that's going to be a doable and durable resolution to an issue that people are dealing with. And so a lot of times, this can be an alternative to going to court, But it can also just be a way to meet people. Sometimes conflict is really tough when you're struggling with somebody else on something. Sometimes it's really hard to know how to approach that other party or that other person, and emotions are high, and sometimes you're just not always thinking straight. And so it's an option to be able to sit down with someone who could just say, okay, let's work through this together, and we're going to help you out.
So who are these mediators, and where do you find them?
Right, we have mediators. They're just community members. They're people that live here locally that want to help out. They are people who have agreed to invest time in and some resources in their training. And so, honestly, we have a lot of folks that are retired that decide that they would like to give back to their community in this way. Perhaps they've had some professional experience in counseling or law enforcement or human resources or retired attorneys. And they go through the training, and then they volunteer their time. So our mediators are our volunteer, and they, and like I said, they do go through a training. We have a basic mediation training and a family mediation training, and then there are some requirements for observing mediation and then practicing mediation, and then they become a certified mediator for our center. And I think it's really positive because you've got local people that are helping their neighbors out, basically.
And this training is local?
It is.
It's all done right here?
Yes, we are currently doing virtual training via Zoom, but we're hoping that eventually we'll get back to some in-person training as well. So
it sounds to me like this is a way of staying out of the court system.
Yes.
Is that true?
Yes.
And so in that regard, you're lessening the burden on the judiciary.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
So if a person is wanting to go down a different route, why would they do it? Why would they choose mediation?
Right. Well, and I think that's a really good point about lessening the burden on the courts. I think the other thing is that going through the court process for many things can be very expensive and time-consuming. And it's very adversarial is another issue. And so I think people really want to choose mediation as a way to do things cost-effectively and to save time. Often with one mediation session, a resolution can be reached. And so then you've got a written agreement, and you're able to move forward. And so I think that's really a benefit for people. I think people often, when they're in conflict, think nothing's going to work. They're really stuck. And so just trying mediation and giving it a shot and see if it will work is the first step. And I think people often find the feedback that we receive is even if they walk away from the mediation without an agreement, or maybe there's more work to be done in the conflict, they all say that they really appreciated the process and that they would recommend mediation for other people.
Very interesting. So, we want to talk about mediation with regard to the senior population. What are some of the things that seniors might be more prone to having to mediate?
Yes, that's a great question because, and I get that question a lot. What types of things are cases for mediation? And mediation is really something that can be used for any type of situation. But common things are family issues, family conflicts. There might be, there could be a divorce happening and a dissolution of a relationship. And so things have to get settled on that end. And but sometimes there's things over in a parent's estate the siblings, just working through that. Like care, elder care, medical, who's going to help with finances, who's going to help with medical. And if you have, if you have children that need to work that out and get things in writing, that's could be something really common. Sometimes there's neighbor to neighbor disputes, I think that's something that happens quite a bit. Housing disputes, if you're in a rental or if you're a landlord and you're having issues with tenant or landlord, that's pretty common, especially currently that's a big thing. If you have a business that you're working on, sometimes there's a dissolution of the business or there's things that need to be formalized or figured out. We do always recommend having some legal consultation, so that you know what your rights are and have some understanding before going into mediation. But, a lot of those things can get settled through the process.
Today I'm with Sandee Beach, one of our longtime volunteers, volunteering in the thrift store.
Yep.
At least one day a week.
One day a week.
One
yep.
day a week.
Mm-hmm.
But she's one of those that we really rely on, and I know that she never misses a Monday. At least that's the schedule you're on right now.
That's on the schedule. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Is that true? When's the last time you ever missed?
I was going to tell you the last time when I had my colonoscopy, I missed.
Well, we all are having those these days.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
Yeah. So how many years have you been volunteering with us?
I'm coming up on 5 years now.
Uh-huh. And so I've been here for 8. And so 5 years, that's a chunk of time.
It is, yeah.
And what do you get out of it? What do you enjoy about it?
I needed a purpose in my life, and that's why I decided to come down here. I moved to the Wenatchee Valley 5 years ago and wanted to meet new people because I just knew a handful of people when I moved here. And I figured coming down here and volunteering would be wonderful. And I've met the best people ever down here. You've got some good people here.
Are you talking about other volunteers?
Yes.
Okay.
And staff.
And staff.
And
yeah.
staff, certainly.
Yeah, well, we have, I think, a really good staff, and obviously it takes a lot of really good volunteers to make it work.
yeah.
The staff can't get it all done. What is it that you do primarily when you're volunteering?
Basically, I check out clothing that comes in, and we check for stains and tears and buttons, and just to make sure that it's good quality clothes that we put out.
Yeah. In fact, recently we've been experiencing some issues with some of the donations that come in don't quite meet our standard.
Yeah.
And I've been trying to get the word out on that it takes a lot of time for some of our staff to just go through the bags of clothing that come in to make sure that we kind of call out some of the stuff that does not meet our standards. That goes somewhere else. We don't really benefit from that clothing. We don't receive any revenue from that, but there are organizations that pick it up.
Right.
And so it kind of slows us down a little bit. And for right now, during COVID, while the senior center's been closed and people have a lot of time, clothes are pouring in. Do you see a big change in the amount of clothing?
Absolutely. Yeah, we're inundated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I know that women's clothing actually is far and away the biggest source of income in the thrift store.
Yes.
And so is that also what you see?
Yes.
Mostly women's clothing?
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
But I see a lot of men shopping here too. So and we get a lot of jeans and that type of thing. So we keep those out almost all the time.
Uh-huh. And so you spend how many hours when you come in on Mondays?
Well, I started at 7. Now I'm down to 4. But yeah.
Well, we'd like to get you back more to the 7, right?
I'm trying. I'm trying.
No, you're one of a group that are still volunteering during this period of COVID.
Yes.
Do you feel comfortable coming in
Yes.
with all of the restrictions and
Yes, I
everything?
do. I think the staff here and the management have done a wonderful job keeping us safe. I certainly do appreciate that. You know, occasionally we get somebody that comes in that doesn't want to wear a mask,
Yeah.
but that's so seldom.
Yeah.
So everybody is pretty much on board.
Yeah. Yeah, we've had a few issues with customers, but I think for the most part we've got a pretty good handle on that. So you work with how many other volunteers that are there with you on Mondays?
You know, it varies, I think, but at least 2 or 3 that directly I work with, and then there's several other that work in different areas of the store.
So you've all kind of gotten to know each other pretty
We're
well.
all friends, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's really good because I think when people are happy and enjoying what they're doing, things get done a whole lot better.
Oh, yeah.
Do you do any pricing at all?
Yes, I've done some pricing. I don't price clothes, but I do price things like neckties and socks and the smaller stuff. But yeah.
Well, good. So obviously you're enjoying what you do there, and I think you know, when you're enjoying something, it makes a big difference in terms of how you feel about spending your time and all of that. I understand you also are a golfer.
Well, that's debatable. It depends on who you ask.
Well, I don't know. I mean, you're a member. Are you a member of the Leavenworth Golf Club?
Yes, I am, and the Ladies' League. Yeah. Yeah.
And so you get out. How often do you get out?
Well, with COVID, it's not that much anymore, but before COVID, it was every week. Yeah, every Wednesday.
And so, what else do you do with your spare time? Are you involved in other organizations at all?
It's basically those 2 things, and then I also have family here. So I do a lot for my family too.
Now you said you came to Wenatchee 5 years ago?
Yes.
Where from?
I came from Federal Way.
Oh, okay. So you're from the dark side.
Yeah.
You moved here because you had family here? Or?
No. Well, yes, that's true, but it was just time to start a new chapter. I had lost my husband, and so I sold my home in Federal Way and moved out here for a new chapter in my life. I did volunteer at the food bank in Federal Way for 7 years before I came out here.
Were you involved in the senior center aspect at all?
No, the food bank there was basically food, and they also had a clothing bank, which was really interesting because our clients could get clothes once a month